Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so Tim Walz said that he is looking forward to debating J.D. Vance, assuming J.D. Vance can get off the couch. Yeah, he went there. And J.D. Vance and the Republicans are coming back. Oh, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are just two far left extremists who don't know how to govern. Except for the fact that Tim Walz is a governor of Minnesota on his second, who's been reelected governor. So, yeah, I guess he does know how to govern. Yet another wrong statement. But it's funny. Tim Walz, he seems really sharp. I'm not saying J.D. Vance isn't a smart guy, but, you're not going to steamroll Tim Walz. And Walz has this vibe, this aura, and it might be his mouth that does that for me, but I see Don Rickles in him. He doesn't have quite the biting, sarcastic humor, but I'll bet you he could manage if given a half a second. I'll look to see if I can find a meme comparing Walz with Don Rickles, because I just get this vibe here. I think Walz is going to be something like a shark or an alligator. There's more to him, and his mouth is a weapon. Just saying. That's the vibe I get with this guy. And he's the one that coined the whole thing, the whole term or comparison of the GOP are just weird. And it's really, really offensive to them. They don't know how to handle it. That was Walz. So let's look at the energy around Tim Walz and J.D. Vance. I'll leave this one as one of the signifiers for the upcoming debate. Walz says, I'm looking forward to debating Vance. I wonder if Vance is looking forward to debating Walz. I'm sure he is, but again, Walz has got like that old man strength about him that's going to be a problem for J.D. Vance. Okay, so 7-carder with an extra signifier card here. My deck is upside down. Okay, so we've got the 10 of Wands. This is not going to be... Now, we're talking about the debate. There's some things are going to be difficult. It may not be easy to schedule, but there's going to be some difficulties with it, as well as the Emperor. Okay. Somebody's going to have a difficult time with the debate, and somebody's going to rule like a king in this debate. What's going to cross it? The Queen of Swords. When the debate is done, I think there's going to be a clear-cut winner. I would be a little bit concerned if I was J.D. Vance, simply because I don't think J.D. Vance is the Emperor, but the Republicans don't have a platform to run off of. So all you can do are personal attacks. And I think people are tired of the personal attacks. They want to find out what somebody's going to do to make their future better. Walz has an entire freaking career behind him, making people's lives better. I don't think J.D. Vance has that, and that's going to be a real problem for him. Because ultimately what this is messaging to young people. The people who are going to be most interested in this are young people. Young people are going to tune in for the vice president debate because they want to see what Walz has to offer them. In the past, you got the Page of Cups, the QAnon folks. Young people, I can leave QAnon aside. Let's just say young people have been very skeptical of politics and politicians. You know what it also is? Republicans are just weird, Look at this guy. This guy is just freaking weird. And that's in the past. We're trying to move past the weirdness. Current situation is the Ace of Wands. Somebody's going to take control. In this debate, somebody is really going to take control and really make some points home. I do not think J.D. Vance is that person. J.D. Vance may not even be there. Let's be realistic here. The Republicans may not want to keep J.D. Vance. But I think that Tim Walz is going to be a forceful personality. He has shown that. People are going to make their decision based on this debate. It may not say, I'm suddenly voting from Republican to Democrat, but I think some people, young people, are going to watch this debate and it's going to motivate them to vote. It's going to turn voters to likely voters, depending on the messaging, because they might finally get some skin in the game. Lesson to be learned as a Sun card. Truth is going to be exposed. Both candidates are going to be exposed for who they are. And again, I think it's going to be a revelation to young people to get out and vote. This is going to be a key debate and a key venue for getting young people out to vote. The outcome is the Five of Pentacles. Some people feeling like they're left out in the cold. Some people feeling abandoned. But the thing is, with the Five of Pentacles, in this behind this plate glass, this stained glass window, is like a church or a government building where these people can go in and get help. Some people are feeling hopeless, like there's no hope. And I do think that the vice president debate, and it's going to most likely be Walz, J.D. Vance isn't giving people hope. That's not what he sells. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz sell joy, hope, and laughter, mirth. That's what they have to offer. They offer people a brighter future. I think for young people, especially when they're making their mind on this, they don't want to feel like they're abandoned, like they're just some afterthought. Their job is just to work, be in debt for their entire lives, work their entire lives for some nameless corporation who will just grind them into paste and then discard them. I think Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to offer hope to that voting bloc and bring them into the fold. They don't have to be outside feeling like nobody cares about them. Okay. Let's just look at a little challenge reading. When we're looking at the vice president debate, assuming it's J.D. Vance going against Tim Walz, what's going to be one key issue, and how will people perceive? The young people. I'm going to focus on young people. How will young people perceive? I think I was thinking I'd do Vance first, but I think I'd do Walz first, because I'm going to have Walz on the left. Okay, so what's the issue? Calming things down. What's going to be that key issue? Calming things down and, emotional maturity. Actually, no, this is supposed to be the signifier card. Excuse me, I don't do a cross on this one. Calming things down. So for the left, with Tim Walz, he comes across, it's funny, I heard somebody referring to him as America's dad. You got the King of Wands, the King of Cups, the King of Pentacles. So you've got this emotionally mature man who is fantastic on the stage. He broadcasts well. He comes from he has a wealth of experience. National Guardsman. He was a sergeant major in the National Guard. He was in the House of Representatives. He was a school teacher. He was a football coach. He's now the governor of Minnesota and a vice presidential candidate. And in Minnesota, he got things through like, universal background checks for guns. But he's not getting rid of guns. He's just making sure that you go through a background check. People like that. Free lunch. I don't know if it's for all students, but for students in Minnesota, they're not going hungry. They're eating. They can learn on a full belly. This guy brings hope. He is the change he wants to see in the world. Where on this side with J.D. Vance, we've got the chariot, the grinding forward here. Queen of Swords, there's a harshness here. Queen of Pentacles, finding value in the Empress. Look at all the feminine energy on this one too. Two of Wands underneath. People are going to be viewing things. With J.D. Vance, it's, what are the values that are being espoused? Right now, the chariot was almost reversed. It's like it's an out of control thing. I'm not saying J.D. Vance is out of control, because he's not. He's very much in control, but there's no message. What are your values? You know, the values are all over the place. The values are attacking this guy. That's what his values are. There's nothing in place. There's no, what I guess the thing is I'm saying, there's no plan in place. What's going to make people's lives better? You know, very black and white issues. This is like the kitchen table issues point. What are you going to do to take care of us? Whereas, Tim Walz has done things to take care of people. As he can go and talk about the school lunch program that he has. Excuse me. And he can say, this is how I took care of people. School lunches. School lunches are valuable. It helps you learn when you're on a full belly and not worried about eating next time. And we've got data to prove it. J.D. Vance doesn't have anything like that to fall back on. What's he going to do? Read my book, The Hillbilly Elegy? Okay. What do we learn from that? Not a whole heck of a lot. In the end of the day, I think what's going to happen is that Tim Walz is going to come across, not only is he going to come across as America's dad, but kind of like, I would say Kamala Harris is going to be America's mom, but there's going to be some kind of vibe like that people are getting taken care of. Oh, here's something I want to touch on real quick. We talk about toxic masculinity all the time. And you have an idea what toxic masculinity looks like. Just look at, Don Jr.'s Instagram page of him going out hunting things, just destroying things for the sake of destroying it. And so it's like, what is what does divine masculinity look like? Tim Walz is the embodiment of divine masculinity. Strong, he's a rock, but he makes sure that those folks under his care get everything they need. They talk about alpha wolves, and if you're an alpha, and there's this huge misconception. And the misconception comes from the alpha wolf snarling and carrying on and chasing other wolves away from the kill. Like, guarding it like it's mine. I get all that I want first, and everybody else gets what's the scraps. And that's not what that is. It's one of the greatest misconceptions. The alpha wolf snarls and chases off other wolves who've had enough but would continue eating. But there's other wolves who are weaker or meeker or younger or weaker that aren't getting enough to eat. The alpha chases away those who would take more than their share, so that those who would be left with less or none can come to the table or the carcass and eat too. Does it make sense? It brings the whole alpha wolf thing to a very different conclusion. Tim Walz is an alpha wolf because he is making an alpha, he's the pack leader. He's making sure that everybody in his tribe, in his pack, has enough. And the school lunch program is an example of that. Everybody gets to eat. There's enough. As he said, just because some people get rights doesn't mean there's less rights for others. There's plenty of rights for everybody. This guy's amazing. What a great choice. Looking forward to reading on him more. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.